that Jesus was the Messiah?
Yeah,
Okay.
of
Okay,
course.
because like because I've been researching a good amount into this, of course not to your level. Um, but I see that you guys have a different interpretation of how Christ was. Um, like you say, he wasn't God. I'm just confused how it is that all these Christians believe that Jesus is God. Like it just can't be that it's not right in front of them. I don't understand. Like if it's right in front of them like that, maybe I'm just uneducated. But how is it that
It's
everyone could be so misguided? I just don't understand that.
yeah, it's very, very, very easy. Okay, if you
Okay.
look at the early Christianity, the early Jerusalem church, and you start reading the early Christian writings and what the early church fathers say, and early Christian writers and heresiologists, you see a slow development of doctrine. Jesus Christ was deified early on. Why? Remember, what's the context of early Christianity? Judaism. Christianity was
Yes.
born in Judaism, yes? Now,
Yes.
were the Jews independent, or who were they controlled with or controlled by? And who were they living amongst?
No. Um, I'm not sure, man.
They were living amongst Romans. They were controlled by
Okay. Yes.
Romans,
Uh-huh.
Greco-Romans. What did Greco-Romans believe in?
And Jesus?
No, no,
I'm not sure.
before Christianity, what did they believe in?
I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. I don't know.
You've never heard of Greco-Roman mythology, Zeus, Hermes, Jupiter,
Oh, okay. Yes. Yes.
man
Yes. They
gods.
believe in that stuff.
Zeus comes to Earth. He's a man god. He impregnates women, and there's man.
Yeah.
That's what they believe in.
Got you.
Let me just, as an example, if you go to Acts chapter 14,
Okay.
okay, if you pull up Acts chapter 14, Paul and Barnabas are preaching in a Greek town to Gentiles, to Greeks, in Lystra, in a city called Lystra. Okay?
Mhm.
They do a miracle. Okay? They do a miracle. Here. This is it right here. Read from verse 11.
When the crowd saw what Paul had done, they shouted in the Laconian
Laconian language. Yeah?
Laconian language, "The gods have come down to us in human form."
Yes? Keep going.
Barnabas they called Zeus, and Paul they called Hermes, because he was the chief speaker.
Okay, good.
The priest of Zeus. Okay.
That's enough. So what does that tell you? When Greeks saw miracles, supernatural
Hmm.
events, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
And the
The
Zeus,
gods have come down in human form.
come down. Gotcha.
So now you have a religion growing in this environment, being preached to Gentiles and flourishing in Greek Gentiles churches. That's how Christianity flourished. It didn't
Hmm.
flourish by Jewish Christians in Jerusalem because that community was destroyed in 70 AD with the destruction of the temple. What flourished is the Greek churches, the Corinthians, the Galatians, the churches at Philippi, okay, and so
Okay.
on and so forth. Now, these Greeks are having Christianity preached to them. And now you could draw a parallel of how they would see a man who rose from the dead and did miracles. What is the first thing that comes
Okay.
to mind?
Yeah, I
The
get that. They're
gods
gonna be
have
like,
come
"Oh, this
down
guy's
in
God."
human form.
Okay.
So
I
you
can
have
understand your line
a
of reasoning.
so you have a development of deification. And this
Okay.
development of deification didn't end in the first century. It continued into the second century when the term Trinitas in the Latin was first used. by Theophilus of Antioch, or by Tertullian of Carthage. He's the first person to coin the term Trinity. Theophilus of
Uh-huh.
Antioch as well. But they still weren't Trinitarians like Christians are Trinitarians. They still believed the Father is a supreme God and that Jesus is a lower second ontologically inferior God. And that was the belief into the
Okay.
2nd century, into the 3rd century, and into the 4th century, by the time that the Arian controversy happens, where Arius is teaching that Jesus is a creature, that he's a low divine being who's created. In Nicaea,
Mm.
the 300-something bishops, they come to the conclusion that Jesus is homoousios with the Father. Meaning, Jesus shares the same exact nature, i.e. the same exact divinity with the Father. So he's not that he's
Okay.
just God and a lower God. He's God in the
But
same
he's
exact
equal.
way the Father is God. They are
Mm.
equally God, but they're not each other. And that's where we get the
Okay.
Nicene Creed. Okay? So there's a slow
Yeah.
development of doctrine, and this was mainstream Christianity. Christendom was unanimous in this by now. Then you have the Second Council of Nicaea at Constantinople. Then you have in the 5th century, you have the Chalcedonian Creed that articulated the hypostatic union, the two natures of Jesus into one person. He took on flesh, and he was consubstantial with us in his humanity, and consubstantial with God in his divinity. And you have the following ecumenical councils after, regarding different Christological and theological issues. So then we draw a image of how Christianity went from a sect of Judaism, just Jews who believed in one God, worshipped him alone, and now just their Messiah came. And that went to become its own religion by the end of the 1st century. Now
Mm.
Christianity and Judaism are different religions.
Yes.
And then it goes on to develop. Jewish Christianity dies in 70 AD by the end of the 1st century. The apostles die. James, Peter, the Jerusalem pillars, they die. And then doctrinal
Mm-hmm.
development happens slowly. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is what the unanimous consensus of scholarship of early Christianity is upon. This is what you could read yourself if you open up the books of early Christian writers, like Justin
Okay.
Martyr, like Ignatius, like Clement of Alexandria. If you read early Christian documents like the Didache, like that are completely free of high Christology, and so on and so forth. So this is a tradition that was passed down all the way up to the Protestant Reformation and beyond, where Christians held to this fundamental doctrine. Two of them. Jesus died, buried, and rose again for the forgiveness of sins. The second is that he is truly God, the same kind of divinity as the Father, and he is the second person of the Trinity. These two fundamental doctrines have been passed down since Nicaea and have not been given up until the Protestant Reformation. Then you had some groups that broke away, like the Socinians and the Unitarians. The Jehovah's Witnesses came after. And so you have Christians who even broke, who were extra Protestant, who broke from the traditional Christology. But
Mm-hmm.
the mainstream Christendom kept these fundamental traditions since that time period. That's why so many
Okay.
people are wrong. If you are
Okay.
free from any sorry, I know I'm speaking a lot, last thing. If
No
you
problem.
read the New Testament free from any preconceived notions, you will never come to the conclusion that Jesus is a second person of the Trinity, consubstantial with the Father of the same exact essence. You will never that he's eternal, that he's eternally begotten. You will never come to these conclusions. Never, ever, ever. Especially from the
Okay.
most reliable and earliest data that we have about the life of Christ, namely the synoptics, Matthew, Mark, and Luke.
Okay, I get that. I guess I just had one more question. I wanted to